The war began as a result of Gnome King Furio's decision to destroy Goose Town, triggering the wrath of the Goose warlords. As the Geese army, outnumbering the Gnomes 10-1, marched towards the Gnome capital of Shtskpri, Furio faced a dire challenge. He couldn't confront the enemy head-on, and scorched earth tactics were futile since the Geese's goal was not conquest but plunder. Though the Gnome populace blamed Furio for starting the war, the imminent threat of invasion united them in a desperate bid for survival. With no time to raise a new army, Furio devised a bold plan to split and weaken the Goose army, using his air force of 100 Gnome gliders. The Goose army, led by Chief Sitting Goose, moved slowly, burdened by an abundance of supplies and an inexperienced force of fresh recruits. This cautious pace gave Furio the opportunity to prepare a defensive stand. He consolidated his forces, 8 Gnome clans, at a strategically vital stronghold along the Geese's path, later dubbed the Feather Fortress. The Gnomes aimed to slow the Geese's advance, demoralize their forces, and, if necessary, retreat inland to prolong the campaign. The battle begins. As the Geese approached the fortress, the Gnomes launched a coordinated assault. Mortar fire rained down on the advancing Geese, causing chaos. The Gnome gliders executed precision hit-and-run strikes, capitalizing on the Geese's vulnerability to aerial attacks. The unseasoned Goose recruits suffered heavy losses, 500 to 1,000 soldiers, within the first minutes of the conflict. Despite the carnage, Chief Sitting Goose remained composed. He ordered his elite Goose Rider cavalry to counter the aerial assaults, while the infantry entrenched themselves and fortified their position. The Gnomes retreat. Recognizing that the Geese were prepared to dig in for a prolonged engagement, Furio made the tactical decision to retreat. His army swiftly pulled back, avoiding casualties and leaving the Geese to occupy the now emptied fortress. The battle ended as a minor but symbolic victory for the Gnomes, who had inflicted substantial losses on the Geese without suffering any themselves. Aftermath and strategic implications. Back in the Gnome heartland, Furio's brother had begun raising a relief army and expanding the Gnome glider fleet. Bolstered by this support, Furio resolved to continue his hit-and-run strategy, wearing down the Geese through attrition and delaying tactics until reinforcements could arrive. The Battle of Feather Fortress showcased Furio's tactical acumen and the effectiveness of the Gnome Air Force against an unprepared enemy. While the battle did not decisively alter the course of the war, it highlighted the importance of mobility, innovation, and psychological warfare in defending the Gnome Kingdom from a vastly superior foe.